Hi everyone, welcome back to this little update edition on the wireless setup that I had. This is probably the shortest amount of time that I've ever had between two released videos, and hopefully we'll make this a habit. So in the last video, we had some settings and some challenges, and it worked really well. But since then, I've been learning a little bit, learned a couple of new things, and I wanted to share this with you. So with that, let's get into the video. In the last video, we showed how I have this set up. And now let's take a look at the new setup with the new changes and the boot order that I use to successfully make everything work. The first tool that I like to use is MIDI Wrench. Once MIDI Wrench is booted, I can turn on the Roland BK7M. Then on MIDI Wrench, I go into Settings, Bluetooth MIDI, and where it shows connected, not connected I should say, I click on it until it shows connected. My next step is I turn on the 8X accordion, and I actually wait just a few extra seconds until it's finished booting. Now we're at the main screen. Let's click on that here, make sure it's connected. Then I back out of here, done. And then we sort of minimize this without closing it. The next thing that I would like to do is bring up the iRig software. Now I already have my iRig blue board turned on. You can tell by the flashing light here. And I just click on it here, or tap on it if you will. And this brings us to this screen where I want to discuss two quick changes that I made. First thing, I changed the MIDI channel from 1 to 4. Second thing that I changed, from 10, 11, 12, and 13, the pedals now react to 127, 126, 125, and 124. Now again, we're going to leave this running. Let's bring this down and bring up our songbook. Here we're going to discuss how I've set it up on one channel. Let's go into Edit. I want to bring your attention down to the bottom left side. Send MIDI command on open. Has to be activated. And then I've decided that on the bottom right, I'm going to use the bank select to program the 8X. I decided to have this one going here because I change registrations more often than I change settings on the Roland, because there are songs that I use without the BK. So it's more convenient for me to use the bank select for the accordion. And how do I set the settings on the BK? That's through the Actions on Open window. And that's on the near the top on the right side. So in Actions on Open, let's click that. Here you see that I have three actions. The first one is to set MIDI channel 1 and send the CC0 command to 122, which we know means send it to the BK. Now it uses LSB 32. So I had to send another control change, channel 1 for CC32 with a value of 0. And the third one is where I set the program number. MIDI channel 1 is a program change to 2. So first off, let's go into this in just a little bit more detail. For us to identify us sending to the BK, it has to be set to 122. So channel 1, control value or MSB value of 00 and a value of 122. And then the LSB value is the 32, and it has to be set on the same channel, 0, 1, with a value of 0. And then the channel here goes to, actually the MIDI change program is what's going to select which entry in your performance list you're going to select. The first song, second song, third song, etc. Now remember, these only go up to 127 here. And we're allowed to go, what happens if we need to go past 127? Let's go, I need to go to 128. That's where we set the LSB value to 1. And then I set my program here to 0. And that brings us over to the PDF document that we found online. There's been a couple of mistakes on that, and I've sort of corrected them. The first one was that it wasn't really clearly laid out, and I laid it out a little bit better in mine. And also in that one, they show 954 possible options. That's incorrect, because 128 over 7 pages, like from 0 to 7, which is 8 pages actually, is 1,152, which means we can have 1,152 songs per single performance list. That's more than enough for anyone. And that's how we control the song here. So if I wanted the third song to be chosen, whoops, this is program change? That's right. So we're going to go and set that to 2. Okay, so we're going to need these 3 in there. Now, where do I pick them from? Here. The control change is MIDI control change. So if I wanted to add one more control change, here's where I would set the 122 value. My second one would be a MIDI channel 1 to CC32. So I would add another action. It'd be a control change, and this would be to set to 32. And then our program change would be the MIDI program change, in which case here we choose the song. Now I've added these 3 unnecessarily again, so I'm going to delete them. And then we can save that. So if I selected this song here, just looking at this, I'd know that on my BK, which is this here in the actions on open, it would go, I see a mistake already. So we set that to 0. So sent to the BK, within the first 128 songs, choose song number 3 from the performance list. On the bottom in the bank select, that hasn't changed. MSB is equal to the identifier of a set if it's in 000, or a user program if it's 001. Then we identify the set. And then we identify which register on that set through the program change. So on this one, we'd be using a user program from set number 2, register number 5. And on this one, we'd be saying on the BK, within the first series of from 0 to 127, I want you to choose the third song. I hope that makes sense for everyone. Let's now see this in action. Let me bring this back on here. I'm going to save that. And just for the heck of it, I know that I have not done this yet. Let's load a performance list. You'll see that nothing is selected. On the iPad, I'm going to select a set that I created that matches my performance set that is on the BK. If I touch or tap on Bésame Mucho, boom, it is selected. On the pedal, if I press pedal A, it changes the song. So between here and here, I have A for page forward, B for page back. Or excuse me, C for page back. I'm hitting C and I'm saying B. So let's repeat that just for clarity. A for moving the page forward, C for doing that. Now, why didn't I choose page forward and page back on A and B? It's because I've reserved B for moving to the next song. Did you guys notice how I'm moving back and forth, and on the BK, it is changing the registrations, or excuse me, it's changing the choices of the performance list. And on the accordion, it is changing the registrations. And it seems to be very responsive, very quick. And now we've seen it in action. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video again as much as I liked making it. And until again, next time, adios.